This is the second part of a three-part series on how to pass the bar exam on your first try. In the first video, we talked about context, making sure that you arrange your life in such a way that it supports your goal of passing the bar on the first try. In this second part, we're going to talk about content. I mean the information and the material and the subject matter that is going to be on the bar exam itself. This is comprised of approximately 16 main subjects, many of which you will have taken classes on in law school, such as torts, contracts, civil procedure, constitutional law, real property, and the like. So you should already have a very solid foundation for many of these subjects. You may not have taken all 16 subjects, but you should have taken most of them. When I started studying for the bar exam, I used a bar prep course called Barbary. Barbary publishes a book called the Convisor Mini Review. This is a single book that contains extensive outlines to almost all of the 16 course subjects that will be on the bar exam. When I took the Barbary course, this is the only book that I referred to. The only reason you might refer to some of their more extensive books and guides on other subjects is if you did not take the law school course while you're in law school and it's the first time that you're learning the subject. Then perhaps you might want to look deeper into some of the other resources that are offered. However, I don't know that you have enough time given that you only have 8 to 10 weeks to prepare for the bar and you have 16 subjects to study, condense down, and memorize. So you need to be thinking about how to do all of this fast and effective. So spending too much time learning in great detail every subject that there is probably not feasible. I would reserve that for only the subjects that you're not familiar with. So your main job when you're dealing with the content and how to organize it, how to learn it, and how to memorize it so you can use it on the bar is a process of outline reduction. You're going to take the 25 to 50 page outlines that are provided to you by the bar prep course. You are going to spend the vast majority of your time reading those outlines, retyping those outlines into your own document, and reducing those outlines down to the most relevant and important information that you're going to need on the bar. This iteration of continuously reducing down the outline is the learning and memorization process. I can't emphasize enough how the process of reading their outlines, then rewriting those outlines in shorter versions and continuing to refine the outlines by moving things around on your page, by using indentation, by using a certain methodology for outlining that I'm going to show you actually on my outlines. That is the process by which you're going to learn and retain the most amount of information. And it's also going to provide you with your finished product, which is going to be about a 2 to 3 page outline per subject that you're going to use as a memorization tool the days before the bar. So your preparation of these outlines is critical, and your ability to stay on track with the calendar and the schedule that's provided by the Barbary or the bar prep course is going to be a major component of your success on the bar. So let's get into what that looks like. Let's say you have a 30-page outline that's in the course materials. I would suggest that your first job is to take those 30 pages and condense it down to 10 pages. This means you are going to type 10 pages of outline from the material. I would highly recommend that you type it instead of copying, cutting, or pasting. The process of actually typing it has been proven to be a much more effective tool of learning and retaining the information than just simply cutting and pasting. The other thing is every time you type it onto your Word document or whatever other format you're using, you're practicing muscle memory and the process by which you're regurgitating the information. And this typing practice and typing the words, typing the issues, typing the rules is going to be part of your memorization process. So I highly suggest you do that. So your first iteration is going to be about a 10-page outline. Once you've done that, then you're going to go ahead and move that down to maybe another 5 pages, maybe 4 to 5 pages. And by now, you're going to be able to get rid of all the details because you've gone over it a couple of times. And you're going to be left with this 5-page outline that's going to have all of the main issues, most of the rules, and a number of explanations and what I call thought joggers, which are simply 1 or 2 words to remind you of what you need to be thinking about with regard to that. This outline is going to be your main overarching outline. So think about a 5-page outline that's going to contain everything from this one subject. And that outline is going to be a very useful tool for you to study, not only for the essays, but also for the multiple choice exam, because most of the multiple choice exams are going to rely on your knowledge of the rules and the elements for each of these particular issues. And so this 5-page outline is going to be the foundation for your studying and memorization. You want to get that outline produced as quickly as possible within probably 2 to 3 days. The outlines that I'm going to show you, I make available to you on my website, blog.law. So check that out, go to the resource page, and you can simply download these outlines that I'm going to show you from that website. Let's go ahead and get into the actual outlines themselves. So this is an example of what I would consider to be your base or foundational outline. This is a contracts outline, and it includes basic explanations and all of the main issues. This outline, at least with the Barbary course that I took, follows the Barbary outline, and it also follows your mental process by which you would analyze a contracts essay. You would start with which law applies. You would then go to, is there a formation issue? You would then go down and say, are there contract terms? If so, have they been modified? Is there any parole evidence rule that might apply? Are there third parties involved? And so on and so forth. These are just examples to give you thought joggers, and these are the types of notes that are going to help you with, for instance, the multiple choice exams, because they break it down into those types of details. So you'll go ahead and create this foundational outline for each of the 16 subjects. Again, this one is for contracts, and this is where you're going to do most of your studying and understanding. And again, typing this out, putting in all your little thought joggers and your notes is the way in which you're going to learn and understand this information best. Now I want to take you to the next level outline, which is even shorter and more reduced. And this outline is what I call my issues and rules outline. And I'll come back and I'll talk about this section in just a second. But if you just go down here, you can see issues, okay? Everything that I've put here, these are the issues. In fact, the words that are on this list are the exact words that you're going to type into your answers in the essay portion of the bar exam. For instance, the first issue is going to be governing law. Almost on every contracts essay, you're going to do a governing law issue, and you're going to get points for that. Is it common law or is it UCC law? If it's UCC, then here are the issues. These are the things you need to identify that apply. So I've just simply indented for each sub-issue. And if you look through here, these are all the major issues that are going to be on any contracts essay exam on the bar. performance, breach, remedies, okay? So you've got everything there. Again, this essay is downloadable at my website, blog.law, on the resource page. Here now I've got all of the rules, okay? So what I've done is I've just taken all of the issues from the above section, and then down here I've typed in all of the rules, okay? Now you can see that my rules are extremely short. In other words, I'm not trying to remember all the fill-in words and all the other language. The rule does not have to be exact. What you want to make sure is that the rule that you write here contains the key elements. It's so much easier to remember, for me anyways, just the elements of the rule rather than typing it out in a full sentence. It's just too much information to put on one page. So you can see here I've done all the UCC rules. I've typed them all out. Contract formation, this is probably a good place to have as an example. And here's the rule. A valid contract requires mutual assent, consideration, and no defenses. If you write contract formation as the issue, and you write the rule is a valid contract requires mutual assent, consideration, and no defenses, you're already halfway through your answer on the exam for this particular issue. Then you do sub-issues, offer, acceptance, consideration, and I've got all the rules written right here, okay? So again, this is my rules outline, and this is something that's worth remembering and taking great care to prepare, because word for word, you're going to be memorizing this outline. And so you can see here, this outline, it's essentially, I think, 3 pages long, okay? And it's only 3 pages or 4 pages because I have the rules and the issues separate. The reason I do that is I want a visual representation of the issues because it's easier for me to remember, okay? So let's go back up to this section here. What is this abbreviated section? These are the major overarching issues that every contracts essay needs to probably contain. Now, you might not have a third party in the contract, but nevertheless, these are the big issues. And each one of these is going to remind you of all of the sub-issues underneath them. So I code them with an individual letter, G for governing law, F for contract formation, T for contract terms, and so forth down here. So at the end of the day, it is these letters that you are going to commit to memory as your overarching, most important issues to remember. And how do I remember these letters? I come up with some silly little sentence for each subject. In this case, I just wrote good feelings, take 3 people, beer, and relaxing or relaxation. So now I just remember this sentence, and I take the first letter of each word, and I realize that that's my code for my major issues. All of the major issues are listed down here below, and bam, you've got a 2 to 3, 4 page outline with all the issues and rules. This one's for contracts. You would repeat this process over and over for 16 subjects. So now that you've seen exactly how to reduce down your outlines from 30 pages down to 10 pages, down to 5 pages, down to just 2 or 3 pages with an issues and rules outline, you have everything you need to now study for that subject and start going through the memorization process. This is what I do in order to memorize these topics. I print out these short outlines, particularly the issues and rules outlines. I print them out, I put them on my desk, I turn them upside down, and I just leave them there. And then I open up a fresh Word document and I just start typing. And I type all of the issues first. And I might even type out the issues in exactly the same order that I have my single letter codes. and I'll start with that. So now I'm going, from the broadest issues, the most important issues, and then under each one of those, I will type out the next level of sub-issues. And then I'll go down to maybe the next third level of sub-issues, and I'll just fill it all in, and I'll just type out all of the issues. And if I ever get stuck on one of them, then I just turn the little piece of paper over on my outline, and I see what it is, and then I cover it back up, and I type it in and keep going. And so I type out all the issues, and then from there, I go ahead and start typing in all of the rules right next to it. And I try to do it as fast as possible, but I also want to make sure I'm doing it accurately. But this process of recalling it cold from your memory and then typing it into a new Word document is exactly the process that you're going to face on the bar exam. And you'll notice very quickly what you know and what you don't know. And you'll then realize how much extra time you need to spend on it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you should be able to type out the entire outline with all of the issues and all of the rules without looking at your cheat sheet one time. Once you can do that, then you know you've learned the information and you know you've memorized the information and you can move on to another subject. The other thing is you're going to study 16 subjects. So in the first 4, 5, 6 weeks, you'll be studying other subjects. You might not come back to them until the very end, and you'll have to retest yourself on your memory. You are now tasked with memorizing. And so you're going to spend hours and hours a day retyping your outlines over and over and over. This is going to give you hyper focus and hyper ability to regurgitate the information, to type it out extremely fast, and to systematize the way that you think about the material. And this is how you're going to spend the last week of study time before the bar. So that's it for part 2 in this 3-part series on how to pass the bar exam on your first try. In the 3rd part of this series, we're going to talk about practice and performance. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.